Hi folks, how you going?
Good. Did you catch in select committee this morning where Karen Chhour, a member of Te Pāti Māori, said that she didn't understand the essence of being Māori?
Seriously? Look, I think it's time we draw a line under this idea that you have to be a certain type of person to understand a type of person. I mean, the fact is, we're all here, we're all different, we're all doing our best, and we need to stop the discrimination of that sort.
Cool, thanks.
No problem. Thank you very much, guys.
Sorry, Nicola Willis also said,
You go, you do that, and I'll do the next one. Nice. Nice. Right. Yeah, sure.
So just on privatisation, are you able to give specific examples, please, of what you're thinking to privatise and what might impact on Manawhenua or iwi?
Well, first of all, you've got to check your assumption. I haven't suggested privatising anything. What I have said is that the government's got a balance sheet of $570 billion, and we should be relentlessly asking ourselves, do we own the right stuff? And if we own different stuff, could we do better? All I've suggested is that maybe that's a question that we should start asking ourselves as a government. And unfortunately, people have rushed to, well, which thing? Actually, I just want to get us to the point where we're comfortable with the idea that the government doesn't have to own everything it owns forever. And often, there's things we need more than what we have now.
People would be keen to know, though, if there are specific things that you have in mind.
Yeah, well, I've just told you there aren't.
Well, surely there are some ideas you have, and you did list some. QV, TVNZ listed by the taxpayers union. Are those things the government should own?
Sorry, listed by who?
The taxpayers union.
Okay, well, they're welcome to list their own things. I'm not, so there you go.
There's this idea that it'll cost consultants to progress with the treaty principles bill. What do you make of that?
Well, it's costing money because so many people have made submissions, and even people who say that they don't support the bill or don't think Parliament has the right to legislate what the principles are have come by in the hundreds of thousands to participate in a democratic debate at Parliament. The one thing that I think is always worth spending money on is democracy, and if it takes money to process those submissions because people have made them, then I think that's something we have to do.
Do you have an idea on how much that might cost?
Look, that's actually up to the Select Committee. I think it's wrong for ministers to get involved with Select Committees. They should be independent, but I'm sure if you ask them, they'll be happy to answer your questions.
I think it's a Minister of Justice that has to pay for that. You're in the Associate Minister. Labour reckons there'll be hundreds of thousands coming from that Minister on consultants. Is that a good use of money?
Well, once again, I just say if it's for democracy, if it's a result of New Zealanders wanting to have their say, then actually I think it's worth it. I think we actually do too little listening to people. In fact, I think for 50 years we've failed to listen to people in relation to the Treaty of Waitangi. That's why it's become so divisive, and I hope that ultimately allowing this discussion will help heal some of that division.
The Finance Minister said that the budget this year won't be so much focused on the numbers, but more about regulation and law changes. Is that what the budget's for?
Look, I mean, obviously the budget is always going to be focused on numbers, but it's also absolutely true that many of the costs that government faces are because of regulation, just like many of the costs that New Zealanders every day in their work and their lives face are because of regulation. And if we can find ways to reduce the cost of regulation, then that actually can be a win-win for the taxpayer, for the government, and for everyone else affected by it. And that's why, I'm proud to be spearheading regulation in this government. I think it's an important thing.
Is there no money to talk about in this budget? Is that why you're bringing in regulation and money?
Well, I think everyone knows that there's no money. You just have to look at the forecast. This country has a serious fiscal challenge, $17 billion deficit forecast this year. $10 billion of that is covering interest on existing debt, and that's going to lead to $200 billion worth of debt next year. That is the hospital past we've inherited. We are trying to turn that around, and a better regulatory environment is crucial to that.
Te Pāti Māori MP told Karen Chhour this morning in Select Committee that she did not understand the essence of being Māori. Do you know, have you spoken to Karen about that?
Look, I haven't spoken to, I've just heard about that in an interview on the bridge now. Obviously, I'm pretty shocked and offended by it. But I just make the point that, everybody is different in some way. If there's no area of common understanding, then we're never going to be able to solve the more serious problems we have. And I just implore Te Pāti Māori to start focusing more on our common humanity than on ancestral or ethnic differences. That's what I say.
Ask you about the Epsom electorate. There's
Yeah.
speculation with the proposed boundary change that will be coming out soon, that Epsom could be the one to possibly go. Are you concerned about that?
Oh, I'd be mortified if the greatest electorate in the history of Westminster democracy was to be removed by the Representation Commission. Let's just see what they say. I mean, they could do anything. There's other speculation they'll remove an electorate from the Wellington region. So who knows? On the other hand, if there is a suggestion that is going to disadvantage the people in the suburbs I represent, I'm sure there'll be very strong representations in phase 2 of the process that actually we like our community of interest. We're an electorate based around our school zones. We have natural physical barriers from Dominion Road to the Ōrākei Basin that really define our communities, and we would like to stay together.
Is ACT putting in a submission for the boundary changes?
You betcha.
And they will be saying, let's keep Epsom.
We'll be saying that the principles are that infrequent change is important, communities of interest are important, that Epsom actually has shown that it has those things over a long period of time, and that there's a good case that among the priorities should be keeping electorates like Epsom, long-standing electorates, together. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. And for more live content just like this, check out what ACT's up to on YouTube.